All right, everybody. This one of the ones. This is gonna be one of those ones. We have my guy James Ihedigbo here today. 11-year NFL veteran, Super Bowl champion, entrepreneur. You know what we like to do on the Get Your Ass Up show. We like to bring and highlight different stories, different walks of life, people that have overcome adversity and then done amazing things. I really appreciate you taking time today, James. Man, Super Bowl champ. I think you are. Hold on, how many Super Bowl champs? Oh, we done had a couple Super Bowl champs here, didn't we? Did we have any Super Bowl champs? Let me think. You are you my first Super Bowl champ? I got.
Oh, I hope so.
Hold on. Edge don't have one, do we?
Nah.
Ooh. Who else?
Watch out now.
Hold on. Who else we had up here? Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden got one.
No, he was with Cleveland and
No.
Pittsburgh. Nope, didn't get one.
DJ Swearinger.
Nope.
Who else we had on here? We had Clinton Portis.
Nah. Clinton Portis, I don't think he got one.
Ooh.
Yeah, watch out now.
Who else we
You
got?
have to chalk it up.
Oh yeah, Derek didn't get one either. Oh yeah, we have our first
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion on the show.
Yeah.
This is super dope now. So this is the Super Bowl special. I've never had a Super Bowl champion on my show. 11-year NFL veteran. But one of the things that I got to give you a shout out, bro. You played on one of the most relentless defenses with some of the best players of all time.
Yeah.
I watched you for a long time just because I was a huge fan of the Ravens' defensive style of play, your physical style of play, from being able to be a ball hawk to being able to come down into the box and make plays in the backfield. Like, mad respect, man. You would smack something. So,
Oh, you know it, man.
I thank you for taking some time, man. This was kind of like last minute. I reached out. I put up a post, and I wanted to know who were the guys I needed to talk to in the Houston area. Saw your name get tagged several times. And I was like, damn, James.
Man,
huh?
hey, Tone, I appreciate you having me, man. So you know, the fact that you're in my city, and how this all, came to be, I think that's so dope and it's just so organic, which, makes it even that much fire. But fact that, you reached out and was like, hey, I'm in Houston. I want to talk to the best of the best that are doing it right now.
Yep.
And the people spoke. We go back, but the people spoke, and for you to, us to connect, and then now we're making this happen. So I appreciate you having me on. You put it out there. I dropped everything that's going on and made sure we made this happen.
And
So I
that's why I
appreciate
really
it, man.
appreciate and respect you, man. You made sure. I told you, hey, man, we're kind of here for a short amount of time, and I appreciate if you be able to come in and say, hey, you know what? I'll make it happen. And you pulled up on us, and here we go. And then to think, I'm like, dang, we had a lot of amazing guests on here. But first Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, just like in general, you played on a Super Bowl winning team. What was that experience like? I got to know, man, what was that? Because every football player that ever in their life, just said, hey, I want to play the game, you always kind of like, hey, championship game, playing a scenario, what it's like, what was that like for being in a real experience in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, as kids growing up, like you always in the backyard or you in the street and you throwing yourself the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl, and you having those visions and dreams. But to be on that team, I mean, you said it, playing alongside guys like Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata, of course, Ray Lewis.
Right.
The godfather of the game, so to speak. I mean, we had this type of atmosphere and chemistry in the locker room that when Ray spoke, it was like, a lion roaring in the jungle. Like, everybody was quiet. The general manager, head coach, owner, everybody listened, and he commanded that type of presence. And so that type of year that we went through, people didn't know, but going into that season, we barely made the playoffs. Like, we had to win 3 of our last 4 games with a whole bunch of injuries. And, with that leadership, we got in. And then once we got into the playoffs, it was a wrap. We went after, Andrew Luck, the best of the best came into Baltimore, and we knocked him down. And it was one of those experiences. Like, once we won the Super Bowl in New Orleans and we beat the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, Crabtree, Vernon Davis.
The power outage.
The Beyonce, the power outage. Vegas, the power outage, right?
Yeah.
But, it was kind of one of those things. After the game was over, we kind of paused for a second. Like, normally you rush on the field, but it was like, yo, like we really did, we really did this. And it wasn't until we got back to the city where you experience all that love, people at the airport, there's lines of people, parade, all that good stuff. But it was definitely a blessing to be a part of that.
Was it everything that you imagined it would be, from the confetti celebration to what was the sport and the game like afterwards? Was it everything that it's kind of made out to be?
Absolutely, and more. I think it's a pinnacle of the sport. But check this. The year before, I was on the New England Patriots. So in quick recap. I played for the Jets for 4 years, and the Jets and Patriots are rivals. Like, we go at each other's necks, and so from there, I ended up signing a 2-year deal with the New England Patriots. And that year, we went to the Super Bowl, but we lost to the Giants. And so that offseason, I was tripped out. I was like, man, I didn't want nothing to do with football. I wasn't turning on Sports Center. I wasn't watching nothing. And we went into that training camp. And I ended up breaking my foot in training camp. And, through that process, I went from, starting 12 games, starting in the Super Bowl, contributor, playmaker, and then getting injured in training camp, and they cut me. And I didn't even make it back to my apartment, my condo at the time. And I had multiple calls from different teams saying, hey, we want to sign you. We want to get you on a flight right now. And believe it or not, it was between the Cardinals, the Eagles, and the Ravens. And I told my agent, I said, I want to go to Baltimore. Just give me the most money you can. I want to go to Baltimore. And then to go to Baltimore, be on that team, go back to the Super Bowl, and then win it was like, man, complete wow moment. It was unreal.
Were you, man? I got chills just thinking about the Super Bowl, and I actually got injured, my rookie year. I hurt my foot and then never had an opportunity to get that next opportunity.
Yeah.
The game is such a vicious game. We talk about, sometimes you get, an opportunity to get on the field. Sometimes you might not. For you, I believe you told me you were an undrafted free agent, right?
Yeah, out the mud, man. Undrafted free agent.
Where did you go to school?
Went to UMass Amherst. Okay. So, the likes of Victor Cruz, Victor Cruz is actually my recruit, and I brought him, got him to come to UMass, and then he had the stellar career that he had. But I can relate to that, injury, and it's over. My rookie year on the Jets, in preseason, on running down on kickoff, a guy blocked me, and I fell on the ground, and then he jumped on top of me, and I shattered my wrist. And it was so painful, but I was like, man, I didn't want to come out of the game because I didn't know if I was ever going to get the opportunity again. And so, I told the trainer, I said, just tape it up. And he said, no, you gotta, you can't play with this. I said, just tape it up. I didn't want him to look at it. And I played the second half of the game, and I was just kind of just using my shoulder. But the general managers and everybody saw kind of like, man, this guy, he got something to him. And after the game, they cut the tape. It was swollen. That night, they just sent me straight in to Lenox Hill Hospital to have surgery. And my season was over. And I was literally in tears. I was like, it's over. I'm never going to get a chance to play. And, getting a call, a week later, after surgery, starting rehab, and they were like, we're going to put you on IR. And that for me was like, that was kind of like a blessing in disguise. I was like, okay, at least I'm gonna be around this. You
get a portion of your paycheck.
You get a portion of your paycheck.
Portion of your paycheck.
Yeah.
I was in that boat. I got a portion of my paycheck.
And you still got to stay here every day.
Yeah. I lived that life. I got a portion of my paycheck until I couldn't get no more of my paycheck.
Yeah.
So coming out of UMass, and then obviously being that undrafted free agent, you get into the league. What was it like for you? Mindset, talk to people and let us know from the perspective of, hey, I'm coming into the NFL. I'm coming and now undrafted. what's the mindset? Because it's a numbers game. They bring in 90 plus people. You got 53 people that make the roster. You got to outshine a lot of people to get that opportunity. And I always tell people, I was like, hey, a lot of people always hear the numbers. Like, there might be 40 plus guys that return from a previous season, 30 to 40 guys that return from the previous season. They're bringing in 90 men that they have on the active roster, and they cut down to 58 guys or whatever.
Yeah.
So the numbers are like real tight. Like there's not a lot of,
And I'd even say, like, I can compare it to, like, if you're working on a cubicle and you're typing and someone's critiquing you while you're typing, and then they got your replacement next to them while you're typing. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the pressure of playing in the NFL. It's like, if you make a mistake, like, you don't have to worry about if there's a replacement. You can look at him. He's standing right here next to you. So, yeah, it's crazy. But early on in my career, I remember it like it was yesterday. My mindset and my motto was make a play a day and keep the cut man away. Real talk.
Yeah, real talk.
And I was like, just make a play a day. I don't care whether it's an interception, whether it's a forced fumble, whether it's a big hit. I just want my face and my name to keep showing up on tape every single day in every single practice. Mm-hmm. And that's what I went out. You got guys, you're a rookie. You got guys coming in making $30 million a year. Mm-hmm. And this isn't like college. We're talking about grown men. This is how I feed my family. So they're not gonna support a young guy and help him, take their job. You really got to go out and take what's yours.
And that's a key piece, because I think many people don't realize is your competition for the guy next to you. So I don't want to see James have a good damn camp, because he could be potentially replacing me if he's either more less expensive, or a better player or whatever, or the team just feels like you're a better fit. Now, you mentioned one of my favorite players of all time, two of them actually, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. Going into Baltimore, you obviously play on Haloti Ngata. I mean, Suggs, you guys have some freaking Hall of Fame players. But you had two that kind of like the world forever has respected. Ed and Ray, they're Hall of Famers already. What was it like? Because I can tell you, for me, as I played linebacker, Ray was probably one of the only guys that I can say I probably listened to every single thing that he said, did, and everything. His mentality was something that was so infectious. Like, I would watch his pregame speeches that he gave with you guys, and then go and as a linebacker, almost try to mirror that for my guys. So it was such a, you damn near run through a wall from the speech. So from an actual player perspective, I want to just kind of get an idea. What was it like for you? Because that had to be an experience,
It's an experience in itself. The cerebral aspect. I mean, you talking about these two guys and the way their minds work. I mean, it's like a unicorn when it comes to the game of football. One of the things, working alongside with Ed, because I started a whole bunch of games and being in tandem with him, the things that he studied, normal players don't study, right? Like, if you're watching a regular week of game film, you're like, okay, what's their best receiver? What's the quarterback doing? What type of route concepts do they like? I remember sitting down at Ed's house, and we were watching on a Tuesday, going through a game, and he said, my nickname's Dig, so he was like, hey, Dig, man. He's like, the key is to study the offensive coordinator. Who cares about who's on the field? Study the coordinator, because what the coordinator wants to do, he's going to do. He's going to do it on first down. He's going to do it in the red zone. He's going to do it in key third down situations. He's going to run the plays that he likes to call no matter what. And that's how Ed was able to always be a step ahead of everybody, because he would know the situation. He would know the area of the field. He would know the down and distance. And he would say, it's one of these two plays. Mm-hmm. And the second he saw the formation, coach would say, don't do what Ed does. And he would just take off running, go get him a pick, And so
he kind of had like free range to
He had free range to do it in film room. Do not do what Ed does. Don't even watch him. Don't watch him. You don't even look at him. Because
Wow.
he had free range to see and do whatever, and that's what made him be the player that he was. And I remember, we were getting ready for the Super Bowl, and we always had our defensive meetings. No coaches allowed, just players. We went through like the script. Script is the plays that we have and so forth, and Ed was like, kept, rewind. He said, Ray would run the meeting, Ed would be sitting in the back, and Ed was like, hey, go back to the last 4 plays. And we were watching the last 4 plays. He said, look at the tackle. He said, every time the tackle's left foot is down, it's a run play. Every time it's up, it's a pass play. And that was 100% accurate for the whole game. And
hell of a cue.
Hell of a cue. That stuff, coaches don't even know. You could watch film all day and not see that. And for him to pick that up in a meeting, and in the game, even if you went back and watched the Super Bowl now, you'll see Terrell Suggs on the end of the line, and every time it's a pass, he's pushing his hands up, and guys know. So yeah, it was a heck of a key. But playing along those, it's once, it's being a part of history, right? The history of the game. And that's why I wanted to go to Baltimore, just to have that experience and play along those guys. And I mean, it was like no other.
I have a crazy story. So I'm sitting in Miami, maybe 2007, 8. I'm training with DJ Williams, John Vilma, and a couple guys at the U. And Reggie Wayne comes in, and Ed Reed comes in. So I'm seeing these guys like 07, like this is like prime, Ed Reed, and they're having a conversation talking about an exchange between Peyton Manning and Ed Reed, and I'm hearing Reggie talk about, I don't know if it was something where Ed had kind of like moved his foot a certain way. Peyton saw him.
I know exactly what play you're talking about. Yeah.
And it was like, now they're playing a basically chess match.
Yeah.
Based off, what they're seeing from each other. And I was just listening to like a high level conversation between these guys, and I was like, God, so mighty. Like the game inside the game, to be able to say, hey, look, the guy tackles heavy on his fingers, somebody sitting in this stance a certain way, to be able to have certain cues that now could give you that competitive advantage to get, jump a play. Hey, if we know it's a run, we're going to attack this a little bit differently than pass. So just the smallest detail here and there, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's real. And Ed was so good at that. That chess match with the Drew Breeses and the Peyton Mannings. He knew that Peyton knew what he was going to do if he opened up, to the cover, to make it look like cover 2. So like if he opened his hips to go to the sideline, he knew that Peyton knew he was going to throw the ball to the middle of the field. So Ed opened up like he was going to go to the sideline, and then does a baseball turn and literally just runs and picks off the pass, because Peyton was like, oh man, there's no way he's going there, and has the speed to get back to where I need to go to throw Reggie the ball. So, I mean, it's you can't teach that. That's something you got or you don't. So
How was that for you, playing with guys of that level? Do you feel like it helped you pick your game up and go to higher heights?
Absolutely. We had a saying in Baltimore, play like a Raven, and I think people, kind of hear that all the time. But if you're not playing to the Raven standard, they say you stick out like a sore thumb. And so no one wants to be that guy. No one wants to be the guy where people are looking at you like you the weak link. Like, we trying to get to some place, called there, and you the one that's holding us up. Like, come on, like, let's go. And so that always kept everybody's competitive levels high. I mean, we had some of the hardest practices. We used to do these, things in training camp. It was called double downs. And double downs is where you have the number 1 offense going against the number 1 defense on one field. Then you got the number 2 defense and the number 2 offense going against each other on another field. And you're running the exact same plays at the exact same time, nonstop with no break. And you'll do this for like an hour and a half with no subs or nothing. And, in training camp, guys are already hot. It's hot outside. The last thing you want to be doing is, tackling and hitting people. And you really want to prepare your body for the season. But those double downs are what gave us a competitive edge, when it came down to November, December, January football.
What would you say makes a championship defense? I mean, you played on one of the best defenses ever. Like, what is it? Is it the player? Is it buying into a philosophy? What would you say makes a championship D?
I would say leadership. A lot of times guys in the NFL, they're about the team, but they're about getting paid. I mean, that's why they play the game. And it's very rare where you find you're a part of a team where everybody just cares about winning. And I think the leadership aspect, Ed, Ray, and our core guys, they came with the approach of, hey, we win, everybody gets paid. Like, don't let being paid be the goal. Let's win these games and let's see where we end up, come February. And, we'll see, everybody will get paid. And so it's that leadership aspect of getting guys to buy in, to what it takes to win, and the other thing I got in, I was a part of the Ravens, when, we were, kind of ascending, we were on the up and up. And the year before, like I said, when we won in New England, well, we beat Baltimore in New England to go to the Super Bowl. So they had to deal with it the year before of falling short of one game away. And so they had all that built up energy when I came to Baltimore, and it was like, okay, now it's time. We know the difference, the plays that we should have made that we didn't, and the execution and all of that. And so that coupled with the leadership, that's exactly what it was. Every single team I've been on in the league, the teams that have, I was on a New York Jets team that was like 4-12, awful. Right. And we lacked leadership. We had none. Okay. Everybody was just in it for themselves. And so, that's a big piece.
I got to talk about Ray for a second, man. We talk about Hall of Fame player, probably the best linebacker I've ever witnessed. Tell us about Ray, man. Like, the intensity. I want to know, like, hey, the accountability when you come into practice. Like, what about the bad plays? I want to know, like, what was the, we've always seen what's on TV, but like, what's the shit that we don't know? That,
man. But what you see with Ray is what you get. Like, he isn't. People think he's putting on. Like, the cameras are on, so I gotta hop into character. Now, you see Ray at the grocery store, that's how he's gonna be. He can go grab you and say, hey man, I love you, brother. Can he hear close? Like, that's just who he is. And so being in that environment during practice, you didn't want to let him down. You didn't want to be the reason why Ray's like, hey, you could play in the NFL, but you can't play here, bro. Like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you with that on Sunday. Like, you can't play here. So it was always that intensity of, forget what the coaches wanted. Like, I'm riding for my brothers. Like, we ride or die. Like, you need me to take on this block? I got you. So you can make the play. Ray, we were playing the Patriots in the playoffs, and the Patriots kept running. And as a linebacker, they kept running this pull play with the guard. The left guard would pull around, the right guard would kick out, and the center would block down, and they would try to run a trapping right on the linebacker. And they kept getting 5-6 yards of carry because it was a downhill run for the running back.
Right.
And Ray was like, hey, stop laying on these guys. Like, stop letting them just come and lay on you. He said, that man comes through the hole, you cut his knees. Just cut him. And I think it was Dannell Ellaby, our other linebacker. He just came through, shot the gap, cut his knees, made a pile, 5-yard loss. And it literally took because you play the Patriots, you play certain teams, they have game plan runs. Right. They're like, this is the game, this is the run for this game that we know is going to be effective, and everything is based off of that, the play action, all of that. Well, we took away their game plan run. Now Tom got to drop back and throw the ball 45 times, and that's not what they practice for, So it gave us a whole nother level of advantage, but that's something that Ray made that decision.
Right.
It didn't come from the head coach. It didn't come from the defensive coordinator that was in the press box and who has, the view of the whole field, seeing this stuff happen. Ray was like, hold on. I know how they attacking us, so let's attack them at what they want to do and take that away and see what happens.
So from a in the huddle type perspective, was Ray? I mean, obviously motivating, but did he make his own play calls at times? Was it?
He didn't even let it get to that point. Ray doesn't let it get to the point of having to buck the coach in the game. He ain't gonna check gangster in the game. But what he will do is, in preparation leading up to it, he'll say, hey, any of these plays do we not feel comfortable running in the game? If we don't feel comfortable running it, it's getting thrown out on Thursday. It's not even going to be in the game plan come Sunday. Because he's like, I want everybody flying around with their hair on fire, 100 miles per hour, not worried about making a mistake. And, and that's what he got out of us. He pushed all of us. He pushed me to levels of playing the game that I didn't even know was possible.
That's dope.
I think I played, for the first time, I played 1,005 consecutive snaps, not missing a snap. Giving it everything that I had. I didn't even know I could do that. But this man, he brought it up. He brought it out of you. He brought that level of, competitive nature. And man, we in Baltimore, we played with such a chip on our shoulder. We embodied the city of Baltimore. That I'll cut for you. That chip on your shoulder where it's you or me, and I'm gonna eat. That mentality. And so. It's a part of what made us what we were.
I heard you mention a few minutes ago Brady, 45 passes a game plus, but let's talk about that, man. You played against arguably the best quarterback that's ever played the game. I think he's the GOAT. I mean, many people try to discount. They talk about all the. The alleged cheating and all that stuff, and I'm saying, hey man, that's still a bad man right there. When he gets into, he gets into playoff football, he is a bad man. You still got to go and execute on the plays. What was that like, just from a defensive player, playing against you guys didn't just have to win, but you had to win against greats. Yeah. Hey bro, y'all didn't. You didn't just have to win. You had to win against the greats.
You think about it in that prime, in that era, there was. Drew Brees at his prime. Mm-hmm. You had Peyton Manning at his prime.
Absolutely.
You had, of course, Tom Brady at his prime. Mm-hmm. Who's another another quarterback?
You have
Big Ben. There you go, and that's in his prime. So there was all these quarterbacks that played at such a high level. I think. The average quarterback then was still better. Matt Ryan was up and coming then, and he was still better than, half the quarterbacks now in the NFL, when he was coming up. So it just tells you the level of preparation. But with Tom Brady, man, you had to make him work for everything that he got.
Right.
So you couldn't give him free plays. So they did a lot of hurry up, high tempo, try to catch you off guard. So as a defense, we couldn't look to the sideline for a call, because if we were waiting for a call to get in the right call, you get beat. He's snapping the ball and he's going. So we had to implement these colors, like white, cover 1, blue, cover 2, red, cover 3, these quick calls where everybody knew and could be on the same page, because he was so efficient with his offense. He knew just by looking at the defensive line, how they lined up and how they were shaded, he already knew what coverage and what defense you were in. So he would just come to the line of scrimmage and say, okay. And then the other thing about how great Brady is, I mean, in 20 years in the NFL, there's not too much stuff you haven't seen. There's not too many defenses that have run or can be recreated to catch you off guard and be like, oh man, you got me. So he already knew where he was going with the ball when he got the ball in his hands. And it was like, okay, well, you playing cover 3. I already know I'm going outside. Well, it's cover 2. Well, I already know I got the seam route, but if I don't have the seam, I'm checking it down to the running back. The ball's not going to be in my hands. I'm going to get, some yards. So the biggest thing every time you played Brady was you got to be the more physical team. Anytime you're playing Edelman, Gronk, it was like these guys catch the ball, you got to make them feel it. You have to beat them down like a boxer. You got to take them body shots and beat them down, and then win in the fourth quarter, and make them earn everything that they get because they so good. Like if you gave Brady, if you were supposed to be outside leverage as a corner and you got stuck inside, well, most quarterbacks that's a first down. Well, Tom Brady, that's a touchdown. Because he's going to say, oh, he's inside, and I'm throwing it outside fade. It's going to be a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, playing against those guys, you had to be on every detail, about your preparation, about your assignment, and then knowing your role of how it affects everybody else on the team, and executing at a high level.
When you mention some of these guys, man, like obviously, man, you played against a lot of Hall of Famers. You played against some like freak goats, like Gronk, like like seeing like just like you name, like,
you know what I'm saying, like
yeah.
playing against Gronk, and then even with him when I was in New England, I came in together with Terrell Suggs, who just went into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So I mean, I honestly, man, I think the timing in which I came into the league and the guys that I got to play alongside with and around was just like mind-blowing. Like I played with Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
When he came to the Jets. Played with Brett Favre when he left Green Bay and came to New York. Played with the Jets. So it's like all these Hall of Fame guys. But it does something to you when you're around that level of excellence and guys that take the game serious at a whole nother level.
Right.
Because, you watch guys and you start taking a little bit from their game, from their preparation. And, not to backtrack, but I remember when I came into the league and I saw Terrell Suggs, he was number 14 overall pick. It's like, this is he's Ty Law's cousin. Like he's the next up and coming lockdown corner in the NFL. And so I said, okay, well, if I want to play in the league, I'm going to do everything Revis does.
Standard. Yeah.
So if he shows up 6 a.m., I'm going to be here 6 a.m. If he's lifting weights after practice, I'm going to lift weights after practice. Everything, if he's, first in line at the drill, I'm going to be second right behind him. So everything he did, I watched to a T and just did it, And that's, I think the things that I picked up from that kind of helped propel me, throughout the league.
The challenges of like transition in this game that we all love, right? We love the game, but the reality is it doesn't give you forever. You defied the odds. I mean, bro, you're an undrafted free agent, Super Bowl champion. You got 11, seasons under your belt. Most people don't get that type of career. Most people get a year or two if they're lucky. Yeah. And then you're faced with the reality. What I had to face, like, what's next? Like, hey, I'm no longer chasing this dream of being on the field, and reality strikes, or your career has, like you did, you go through your full career, and it's the what happens next. What like that transition period? What was that like for you, from having an amazing career and then life after going into the business world?
Yeah, I think the thing about playing in the NFL is it provides such a platform for you. And, it provides so much financially, it provides so much outside of the finances aspect, it provides so much. And, there's sometimes guys are like, okay, I'm done with the NFL. I put that in the shoebox. I'm over that. Let me move on to the next thing and let me do business or whatever it is. And that's cool. But you can't downplay the effect of playing in the NFL and what it's done and how it shaped you. And I think before I say this next statement, I think there's an area that needs to be understood that you can't downplay, what the NFL has done and provided for you and the platform that is projected. I think oftentimes it levels the playing field, between, the wealth gap in the country, like in terms of white, black, whatever. It levels that because a lot of guys didn't come from money, and you're able to obtain wealth in a short period of time. Now it's like, what do I do? But the big thing for me, early on in the league, it was the identity piece. Understanding that, you know, an NFL player is what I do, but it's not who I am. No different than practicing law is what I do. It's not who I am. Like if I can no longer practice law, if I'm a doctor and I can no longer practice medicine, so then who am I? Well, the same energy that it took me to get my law or medical degree, well, I'm gonna apply that same energy to something else.
Right.
And so that was kind of my mindset, is wrapping my identity around. I've been privileged and blessed to play this game, and that's what I did, but that's not who I am. I know I got so much more to offer, and finding that next thing, and then being able to pursue that next thing with the same level of intensity and passion that I did with the NFL. We know coming as undrafted free agents out the mud, there's a level of aggression and tenacity that you have to go after things because it's not given it to you, and you're always the first guy that's going to get cut when it's when it's cutting time.
They look at you first.
They looking at you first. Your name is the first on the roster. So, understanding that aspect and that level of, intensity, and then just taking that and saying, okay, well, this chapter's closed. Now, where can I apply all this energy, this aggression, this competition? Where can I apply it to next?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Being in competitive sports where you get, your job replaced when you don't perform well or whatever is one of the most humbling things. I think a lot of people that work traditional 9-to-5s don't really understand.
It's crazy.
Every Tuesday, there's somebody coming in to interview for your job, and you see it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, there's a linebacker that's working out right there on the same field that you're gonna be on Monday or Tuesday, excuse me. I think it's sometimes Mondays, but you see these guys coming in that they're flying in for potential workouts. I remember when I actually got my opportunity, it was mid-season. I come in on like a Monday or a Tuesday, and there was 4 other guys they brought in that were linebackers at the same time. I was excited because I had like this crazy, bro. I didn't get in, with like having an agent get me in the door. I literally created a highlight tape, and I sent, bro. Listen, I found the NFLPA's website. I go to the NFLPA website. They had the listing of directory of all the pro personnel directors, everybody all listed on the website.
Wow.
I went. So this is kind of like forward thinking to how I even got into real estate and what I've been able to blow up and do with real estate is I was like reverse engineering, finding the people that were decision makers, and then putting myself in front of them. So I found the whole list of the whole NFL directory. So I sent every college scout, every pro personnel director, everybody.
Yo, that's crazy.
My highlight tape. So, and the crazy part is what I did is I first started out. I sent out a batch to all the scouts. Nobody responded back. I'm like calling people, nobody's answering. So then I started sending the DVDs to the pro personnel directors. Like I'm literally figuring out who the decision maker is. Like
you need to see this.
Yeah, you need to see it. So I actually called Buffalo. I called like a couple people when I was actually getting people on the phone, and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna just keep trying. I get one day I sent return receipt, certified mail return receipt. I send it. It goes to Will Lewis. I see that it was received. I call the reception desk. Hey, I just got off the phone with Will. We lost the call. Can you pass me to him, please? Yeah. I'm crazy,
yeah,
right?
That's crazy.
I'm crazy as hell. So I call. I get Will Lewis on the phone. Still remember his name. Like that's how crazy it was. Like, bro, like I'm basically cold calling NFL teams to say, hey man, I need a shot. I had I was like, hey, if you play the first 15 seconds, if you don't like it, I'll never call you again. Well, I'm telling you, my first 15 seconds, I was like a little baby Ray.
Yeah.
I got busy, so I knew like if you watch the first few seconds of my highlight tape, you're gonna at least give me a chance. I hear the music come on. Had the 50 Cent and Get Rich or Die Trying.
Right, yeah.
I heard it come on. He pauses. He's like, hey, hold on for a minute. He gets me back on the phone with the lady Janice, and they booked my flight to come to do a workout. I get to the workout and I'm thinking that, okay, this is my chance. Like, hey, these guys are going to sign me. I get to the fucking shit. They got 4 or 5 other linebackers that they're bringing in too. I'm like, God damn, man. I'm thinking I'm coming in like,
I got my shot. I'm good.
Like, I'm in here. I get there and I'm like, damn. Like, most of these guys were like, I played at Winston-Salem State. So I played at a smaller school. Like, I'm looking at this dude played at Florida State. This dude played at. So I'm like, crazy. Oh, shit, man. Like,
crazy.
Like, but thankfully I was like really like from a preparation standpoint, my mental IQ, like football IQ through the roof. I was a great athlete. They put me on the board and I just got lucky. Kevin Ramsey was my defensive coordinator. He had came in college. He was my DC, but he actually was the Arizona Cardinals like defensive backs coach. He had a lot of good relationships in the league. So like for me in college, I was like always in coach office, right?
Yeah.
I'm like picking his brain. Hey, you done work. He was DC at Georgia and all these other places. So he had like some real big dog linebackers. He had, cultivated through his years and everything else. I'm like, hey man, coach, I need everything. Everything I want to know. And like the thought process and the mentality of pushing myself to be able to get on that board and like be confident with how to align, alignments on defenses, knowing what, I could write everybody's assignment on the board.
That's it.
So I was prepared, and I think that was the difference for me actually getting signed. They signed me because they put me on the board, and I knew that shit inside out.
Yeah.
Like, like he was like, and I think that was really the differentiator for me getting that opportunity. But like you say, it was me getting an opportunity because somebody had got injured. Now I'm coming in, and now there's 4 other people behind me that they're already
that are ready to go.
Yeah. So it's like such a competitive environment constantly. Like, and I talk to people that haven't been in that type of atmosphere. Hey, bro, you don't know what pressure is. You don't understand that you make a mistake, and somebody's like, they don't give a shit. Like I can say, hey, I'm paying you $100,000. I remember my contract, $275K. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm about to make $250,000 this year. I get injured, it's like, no, it's 180.
It's 180. We're gonna take some of that back.
It's 180. Yeah. But more importantly, if we cut you, we don't pay you anything.
Anything. Yeah.
And from a regular world standpoint, that's something that's like, all right, hey, look, we got an agreement, we got business, whatever. Like I get to keep that. I don't have the fear of being replaced so drastically and like basically with no emotion or anything. I mean, all of those different elements are so crazy. But as I look at how I was able to get my opportunity, it really was like, okay, guys, you can get anything in life that you want. You got to be willing to think outside of the box. You have to be willing to do shit that nobody else is willing to do. If you're getting no as an answer, are you willing to try to now pivot and find ways to create that no into a yes? Yeah. I knew I came from a small school. I knew I had very little visibility. So how do I get in front of the decision makers of the NFL? How do I get in front of the people that, like, man, I know Ray Lewis and these guys are like great players. So why would I not mirror and then do the same things that these guys are doing, man? Hey, look, if he's working out every day, he's doing this. Like, hey, man, I want to do that. So I love that you even touched on those points, because I think when we look at life, we look at business, and people see guys like you who have had high levels of success, and you now obviously like Super Bowl champion. You went to the NFL and did things that we all as young kids want to do. How do you break through those barriers mentally? Because a lot of people don't understand the difference in success is mental.
Yeah.
Like hearing you say, hey, you went into one locker room with the Jets, but you go into a locker room with the Ravens, and there's like a complete difference of how everything was. You got a losing team and then you got a winning team, and the difference is really like leadership. And the people, like, the leadership wasn't just, hey, we're yelling at you, but it was the mentality. It was the accountability. Hey, how do we show up for what we want the best out of our lives? Do we take subpar performances and make excuses for it, or do we push ourselves to go to higher heights?
Yeah.
Challenging ourselves. Like I think that when I hear of a story of somebody that says, hey, I'm an undrafted free agent that I made 11 seasons in the NFL, bro, most people don't understand. Being an undrafted free agent is hard as fuck. Like, let me tell you guys, like, hard as fuck. To be able to get 11 seasons, like, this dude did something that, I mean, let me tell you, like, defied the odds Like, shout out to you, bro, because
I appreciate that.
like defying the odds is something that black men, that we don't get a lot of credit for.
Yeah.
Like, and even for you, I want to give you your flowers because this isn't just about the sport, but it's about the mentality that it takes to be able to defy the odds, to be able to be accountable, to be able to be successful even after the sport, to be business minded and thinking of growth. Where I know a lot of guys who I was surrounded around was only focused on partying, focused on like living a good life, and then finances come in, and you get all these negative things that now you're not prepared for because you felt like the gold rush was always going to be here.
Yeah. This money ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So from a financial standpoint, let's talk about what was the largest contract that you saw, like even from a teammate. It doesn't have to be your personal own, but what was like? I know you've been in the locker room with Ray and all these guys, because I remember my first. And I'll tell you why I asked you. I remember I seen Walter Jones check. Sometimes you see certain people check, and it just kind of like humbles the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like I remember, we were just starting out the season. I remember I got it was like a stipend check or some shit, and it was like $1,500 or whatever. And it was my first NFL check, so I didn't give a shit about the dollar amount.
How much amount? You're just like, man, I got one.
I got an NFL check with my name on it. It says, hey, it was coming from the partners of Seattle Seahawks. And I'm like, all right, bet. And I remember, Walter Jones kind of cracking jokes. And then, he's like, flashed off his check. And I remember that shit was like $400K or some sick number. And it was just one. I'm like, I was like, whoa.
Exactly.
So like, I love to know like what you saw.
Yeah. So like for me, like in our locker room, we didn't really, talk about people's checks, or I didn't really see person, but I do, remember this one story. A friend of mine was telling me about Brian Urlacher and Patrick Tillman in Chicago. They came into the locker room, and it's payday. Tuesday's a payday, and he was like, Brian Urlacher was like, "Oh man, my knee's killing me," and he opened up his game check, and he started rubbing it on his knees, like, "Man, but this is making me feel so much better." The check was like $650,000 one game, $650,000, just like that.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Tillman's rubbing his shoulder, like, "Ooh, this hurts so bad, man. This check is making me feel so much better." Open it up. He making dang near a mil a game. Like, think about that. Like, where these guys are cashing, 7-figure checks, a week. It's but that's, we played, a kid's game, for a king's ransom, but to your point, for me, it's always been the mentality. It's always been the mindset. I think people mess themselves up because before they even start a thing, they think about the fear of not finishing it, or the fear of not accomplishing what they set out to do. And so they get paralyzed by the fear rather than thinking about, man, if I do this, I can be successful at this. So a whole different framework of positive thinking. And positive thinking is such a real thing. I'm big on my faith. And so, the Bible, it's like, as a man thinks, so is he. So like, if you quietly think about the conversations you have in your head and how you think about yourself, that's who you are. It doesn't matter what the outside world says. That's who you are, and that's a value that you think you have that you can provide. And so if you fill with negative thinking, you ain't never going to do something amazing. You're never going to be a part of something amazing, and you're never going to do something that's going to turn people's heads and be like, man, wow, this guy, he did that, she did that. And so like my mindset has always been, from the first time I stepped into the NFL, was, whatever I wanted to be, I used to think about it. We used to be warming up for practice, and Kanye West, wait till I get my money right. I used to be singing that in my head, like, let's go, like, because I'm here. If I didn't have the opportunity, that's another thing. But I got the opportunity, and so now I'm gonna make sure I think right and act right, to be able to maximize it. And then, transitioning to the business side, it was the same mentality. When I got into the NFL, I went to the Darrell Reeveses. I went to the best of the best and said, "Hey, what you doing?" And I want to learn from you. Well, on the business side, when I was transitioning out of the NFL, I was like, probably year 7 or 8, I was like, okay, this isn't going to last forever. So, my dad taught me, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So if you're not already thinking about your next move, you're already late. I got Nigerian parents, so it's either you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be a lawyer,
Right.
it's they plan your life out for you. And so playing in the NFL wasn't even a thought for them until they saw me in high school and college and were like, okay, yeah, you could do this.
Right.
Like you pretty different than everybody else on the field. And so that mentality in terms of preparation. And so then when I started to get into, exiting the league, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to play this forever. So what's next? And I remember, my pastor, shout out to, Apostle Dr. Dana Carson, he asked me, he said, how many more years you want to play in the NFL? And I was like, man, 4 or 5 more, I'm good. I feel great. I want to play this thing till the wheels fall off. And he said to me, he said, son, you got to find a need and you got to meet that need at a profit. You got to find a need in your community and you got to meet that need at a profit. And so that began to spin the wheels, because I'm like, okay, so I gotta find a problem that somebody has, and I gotta solve that problem, and know that when I solve that problem, I don't have to worry about the money, because if I keep solving enough problems, people will start paying me for that.
That's one of my biggest things. Solve problems and get paid.
Solve problems and get paid. And so I saw in our community there was a need for early childhood education, preschool education. Children 6 weeks to 5 years old. Parents always got to work. Not every parent is, making high 6 figures. Both nowadays in America, both families have to have a dual income. And so being able to find that. And then so we got in with a franchise, and we started our first franchise within our first 8 months of opening, doors open. We open with about 115 kids. By 8-9 months in, we're full to capacity. And so now I'm seeing, NFL style checks, so to speak, coming from solving a problem, and meeting the needs of people in my community. And I was like, wait, there's something to this. Because often, especially in the Black community, when you talk about entrepreneurship or being a business owner, we want something sexy.
Yeah.
We want something that's like, hey, this is great in conversation. This is what I'm doing. This is what I got going on. Da 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 da. But with our counterparts, our Asian counterparts, they don't care what color you are when you come to get your nails done. Mm-hmm. They just want you to come get your nails done. Mm-hmm. They don't care what you are when you come into their restaurants. They just want you to make sure you're paying. And so their mindset and their work ethic about what they're doing is completely different, because at the end of the day, it's about meeting that bottom line.
Right.
And so really taking that and then taking the passion from the NFL and applying it to the business side of it, that's what drove me. I was like, okay, well, we got something here. Now, how can I continue to meet my parents and my families and my community's needs and let this thing grow to where it can be? And so, we just kept growing from one location. We went from 1 to 3. Mm-hmm. Then we went from 3 to 4. And then we went 5, 6, 7, and just keep growing, because now you have the formula, you have the right people, you're meeting the needs. Now you're just finding the needs that need to be met, the locations where they have that need, and you're coming in and doing what you do, and it's able to grow to where we are now.
So, and just let's talk about it. Shout out to you, man, because first off, like, just the transition is tough. Like, hey, the reality is, everybody wants to be a gladiator forever. You want to be able to be known for what you did on the field, but then it's really the reality of like, hey, what's next? How do I prepare? What will I do? And then do you attack it, with an intensity that gets you the results that you truly want? Because you can't half-ass entrepreneurship.
Nah.
Like,
Can't do it.
The reality is most people who do, man, you can have temporary success, but you won't have long-term success. Like even as an entrepreneur myself, like I watched so many people come in the game and they think, hey, it's gonna be easy. There's no obstacles, and I mean, like, boy, you get hit, from every angle, and then people quit like really quickly. I've been blessed to be able to train, thousands of people in real estate, and I've watched people who, didn't believe in themselves, didn't find a path in real estate, and it was something that really, for me, it was like, damn, now I got something that I know can touch walks of life and impact generations, right? And I said, so okay, what if I made real estate, which typically isn't like a sexy type thing?
Mm-hmm.
What if I made it look a little sexy and I pushed it to people so where we could, because we don't have this in school, like they don't give like real estate education. So what did I do? I got on $1 million worth of game, do like straight strategical, like a mug. Like I go to $1 million worth of game, and I tell my story, and I'm like, hey, I played football, and this is what my journey was, and I got into real estate, and this has been what's really cool, and I've been making money with it, and I was able to impact a lot of people in our demographic that typically wouldn't pay attention, because I know they watch hip hop, I know they watch the the BS, but they really don't lock into business, and I wanted to bring business owners onto my platform who are doing things that might not be particularly sexy, but can be something that could be profitable. And I know, like, what exposure does to somebody's mindset. Like, many people aren't thinking about early childhood education and creating opportunities where you can come in now and now make money with creating daycare facilities or things like that. Franchise, and that's
it's a whole, like we're in the Kiddie Academy franchise, and so there's a whole model within that. But to your point, entrepreneurship, it isn't for the faint of heart.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people jump in and say, man, I want to be an entrepreneur, because they don't want the regular 9 to 5. You don't want somebody telling you when you got to come into work. You don't want somebody bossing you around. You got to report. You can't take no sick days. You got to use your PTO, all that stuff. So I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Well, this side of the coin, you gotta really be ready for all the smoke.
Right.
Because it's all on you. There is no one else to blame if the business doesn't succeed but you.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes that level of dedication. I remember with our first location, I was there 6 a.m. opening the doors to 6:30 p.m. closing the doors. I knew every family. I knew every child. I can call them out by name. I didn't know how to do QuickBooks. Matter of fact, I went to school at UMass for sociology. I didn't know anything about business. But if I'm able to learn a playbook in a week to get ready for a game on Sunday, how can I not learn and teach myself the financial things that I need to know in terms of accounting, in terms of QuickBooks, in terms of budgeting, managing? I have the same capacity to do that. So why can't I use that same capacity to learn? And I think that's another lesson in terms of just the application of information. We in a high information age, and its ability to get information. But then it's the other thing to be able to apply the information that you receive.
Talk to him, dog.
That makes it effective for you. And so I was able to take that and really say, okay, well, this is my area. I'm a get in the Kiddie Academy. And it was so cool the way that kind of worked out, because Kiddie Academy is based in Maryland. My mom at the time lived in Abington, Maryland, which was stationed. It's kind of like the headquarters of Kiddie Academy corporate. And my mom has her PhD in early childhood education. So she, at the time, unbeknownst to me, she used to do trainings with the corporate office in terms of Maryland state standards of early childhood education, best practices, and so forth. It was a bye week for us in Baltimore. I was driving, I heard on Sirius XM, a franchise, commercial. Bro, when I tell you, I am the last person to write down a phone number that I hear on the radio. The last person. I'm like, yeah, right, And something just said, whether it's God or whatever, just write down this number. And I wrote it down, I put it in the cup holder. 2 weeks later, I called the number and said, hey, I want to hear about your franchise. They were like, oh, is this James Ihedigbo from, the Baltimore Ravens? I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, we're big fans. We're based out of Maryland anyway. I went into the corporate office. The rest was history. I learned about their program, how they do business, how they make money, what it looks like, all of that. And the rest is history. And you look at it now, you know, 7 years later, and we're a multi-unit franchisee, impacting over 1,000 kids a day, 200 plus employees, all from, playing in the NFL. So like if you would have asked me playing in the league, hey, you're going to be owning preschools, I'd be like, man, get out of here. Like, playing in the league to owning preschools, but it's the impact that we make and it's the lives we change. And then ultimately it's a profit,
Let's talk about the profit. What's that been like for you? 7 years in business? Like I heard you say NFL like checks.
Yeah. So, it's a two-sided coin, right? Because there's the real estate aspect of the business, and then there's the operational aspect of the business. So what we come in and do is we'll buy the land. For I think our first deal we did, we bought the land for like $265,000, 3 acres. We built the school on it. The school, it was about, $2.5 million to build the school. It appraised recently, for, just under $6 million. Mm-hmm. And so you're thinking about building generational wealth. Well, owning the real estate is how you build generational wealth. I think, it was best said that, your 9 to 5 is what pays your bills, while you sleep is what builds your generational wealth. And being able to set up, those now collectively, around, and you're continuing to grow, that's really where it's at.
Yeah. So one of the cool things I've done over the years is I think education is, paramount. You've obviously, been on a 7-year plus journey of building in your business. Back in 2018 or so, I started teaching other people like, hey, here's the steps of getting into real estate. I'm gonna show you what I do because it can help you shortcut your learning curve, right? And I began to create digital products that basically allowed me to now create another form of revenue. So think about this. I got in my real estate program alone over 24,000 people.
Wow.
Just in my real estate program. My credit repair course, I got another 12, 13,000 people. Free trainings, I probably trained a couple 100,000 people. But the ability to create a digital product was something that really was like something I never thought about before. And every time I get with my guys that are athletes and we've kind of been traditionally taught to think one way, I go, hey, so many ways to skin that cat, right? And now that you've, built like this amazing business, you got proof of concept. I can show you how to now sit down and show other people how they can now introduce themselves into franchising into the business, and you can walk them through the things that you struggle with. Hey, setting up the QuickBooks the right way, knowing how to manage the day-to-day
That's
tasks.
the move right there.
But think about people now being able to say, hey, proof of concept right there. This guy's been successful. He's got, multiple businesses multiple franchise, parts of the franchise. I can follow this person. He has a blueprint, a legitimate blueprint, successful person. And now for you, this is something that you can make money on selling in your sleep. Bro.
That's real talk.
Like, watch this.
That's real talk right there because, that's when you're dealing with banks, that's the same questions they ask. Proof of concept. Show me that it works. Show me that it's successful, and we'll give you more money to be able to do that what you're doing. So it's taking that same philosophy, and especially I think that's genius, making it digital.
That's just one of my digital products.
Man.
And that has been, you gotta understand, from 2018 to now.
That's crazy.
I've been able to put together a product I create one time, and I can sell it as many times as I want to. Think about it. I mean, I can go through and I can make additions to the product. I can always update it and everything else, but I can make a product one time and sell it to masses over and over and over again. I remember, growing up, and I used to watch all the infomercials, and I would see, you know, these white guys who were, selling shit all the time,
All the time, man. That's
and
real talk.
and I started looking at what let's keep it real. I wanted to look with what the white people were doing to build wealth and be successful. And I knew that real estate was one avenue for sure. You had to have real estate. You had to be able to own some stuff to be able to truly build wealth because, like you said, like even in the appreciation that you got in the properties you acquire, right? But then the next thing I was like is I understood sales. Sales is like a part of life. Like if you're not selling, you're losing. You're like, you just absolutely have to focus on sales. And then I was like, okay, I want to work hard, but I don't want to work crazy. So when I first started doing this in 2018, I was doing one-on-one calls and I was like grinding. Like, and the athlete in me, I'm okay with the work. Like, a lot of people, they run from the work. I'm like, hey, I'm okay with the work. But then it became like I didn't have a quality of life because I was sitting on the phone answering the same exact questions 15, 20 times in the day.
Yeah.
So I was like, everybody keep asking me the same shit. So let me write down the most frequently asked questions and then build content around what the people were asking me. So I would get on all these Zoom calls and I found out kind of like the main troubles and the struggles and the questions and the fears and everything. Like, I want to know how you think. What make you think that? Oh, you think this? Okay, let me put it. So I was building my material for like what was going to make the perfect program for all my people. Every question, every concern, I'm going to have it answered. So you can just go inside this program and then like, oh, I don't know how to find people. I don't know how to, and it was just like in order.
In order.
Like,
boom, boom.
yeah. So
Man, that's genius.
So I 2019, I created my first digital course. In August of 2019, that was when the game changed and the light bulb really went, this is something that could take me to a whole nother level. I watched, and one day I had did like 65 grand in sales. And I was like, yo, it's people that like don't make this all year. I made it in one launch day. Hold on. I started studying every salesperson, every guy that's doing webinar training, this training, that training. I'm going into the rooms where the guys are like really focused on the sales. And in like 90 days, bro, I'm talking about I had built out a crazy funnel. I had tried multiple different ways. I was like watching how people did shit. I was just trial and error, launch, failure. And I got to what I was doing was I was doing like free trainings. Hey, I knew people love free, right? If you want to be able to get people, if you put a price point first, they don't come. But if you say free,
they gonna show up.
They showing up. So I said, hey, y'all come to my free training on Sundays. I'm gonna do a live free training, and I'll teach you how you can get into real estate without needing any money credit. So, when they would register for the free training, it would say, congratulations, you have now registered for the free training. Here's my ebook I made. This book will help you start your real estate journey. It's this, right? $27. They bought a book. So they just came for this free training. They came for the free training.
Yeah.
Now they just spent $27. Actually, it was $37 at the time. They bought my $37 book. Then once they bought a book, I say, hey, here's a mini course that goes exactly for the ebook, and it was $77. So now I was making $110 prior to people coming to my free training. So they registered for the free training. They now just bought 2 digital products. I didn't have to do any additional work. Now I'm making $110 every time somebody signs up. For every 3 to 4 people that come to the free registration, I'm getting 1 or 2 of those people to give me, some money. So then it's like, okay, how many people do I need to push into this funnel now? Because I know like I'm able to get the free lead to come in. I get the name, email address, and then I now have an opportunity to sell them. And bro, the first month,
genius.
The first month I did like $100,000 in sales on just the upsell piece. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Not the actual sell of my actual course, but just the order bumps. And it changed the way I thought.
Wow.
Free attracted the buyer.
Yeah.
It got the, oh shoot, free real estate training. Oh, let me go over here, see what's going on. Then I was able to monetize immediately. I didn't have to wait till I did the webinar. I was able to make money right there.
Right then and there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's an ebook I made. It's called My 21 Proven Secrets. It's called The Closer's 21 Proven Secrets. How you can close your first deal in 30 days without having any real estate experience. Like, I'm talking exactly to
that group of customers, the first timers.
exactly, right? How to close your first deal in 30 days or less without having any wholesale experience. And it was like how to make your first $5,000 or more in 30 days or less. So it was obviously like right on time for like where we were. COVID comes. I named the program Rona Proof. Like, listen to me, like crazy shit, right? COVID comes out and I'm sitting on my live and I'm like, hey guys, you can actually make money in real estate and never have to go to the house, never have to actually meet the seller, never have to meet the buyer. You can do it all virtually. And I can show you how to do it. COVID was like, I mean, just you talk about timing, meeting the perfect opportunity and preparation, right?
Yeah.
In 30 days, I had did like $1 million and some change. Like the numbers were just like, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
That's crazy.
I'm doing live trainings and I'm doing anywhere between 110 grand and $200,000+ every Sunday. So every Sunday at 3:00, I was doing a live, probably 2-hour training, and I'm teaching you the steps of the real estate game. Like a lot of people do trainings and they don't really teach. I'm like teaching the shit out of people. Then at the end, I'm like, hey, if you think this was amazing, imagine what my course is like. Course is $2,000. You can join there now. Get full access to all my contracts, resources, everything. You get a live community, you get group access, you get access to me, blah, 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 blah. So now I got people, 50, 60 people coming in every Sunday by 6:00. So I start at 3:00. By 6:00, my register's ringing, bro. And I'm talking about beautiful. I'm talking about
Boom, boom, boom. Just hits.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. What doesn't need, what was unsaid doesn't need to be said, right? Yeah.
Right. Fast forward, not only was I able to be successful, but I saw the impact that it could make when people had access to information that could shortcut the mistakes that they made in the business.
That's good.
So it wasn't just like about me making the money, but it was something that I used that was proven that I made money with, that now I could show other people how to do it the right way, how to avoid the pitfalls and the mistakes, and then be organized in how they actually took the approach at it. I get into, obviously it's like thousands of people in my program. I say, hey, I'm gonna do a quick flash sale, because the beauty of a digital product is you can sell that mug for anything you want to, and it's your product. You like, hey, like if I sell it for $1, if I sell it for 10 grand, whatever, it's income. So I get, like into July, and I go, hey guys, I'm gonna do a 30-minute flash sale. You can get my full course for $200. So from $2,000, $200, and it's only for like 30 minutes. Dude, I broke the freaking internet for like 3 days. Like I did $1,000,004
In 3 days.
in 4 days.
4 days.
4 days. I'm talking about $250 a day. Never had, like, bro, I never seen shit like this in my life. Like, I wake up in the morning, I go to bed, I'm waking up, it's already 30, 40K in my account. I mean, like,
boom, boom. Yeah, just crazy.
I'm talking about 3 a.m. I'm waking up and it's already 30, 40K that been made.
Man, that's crazy.
And not only that piece, bro, but like, it was like, now I knew I had found the it.
That it.
Like, you create a product that people can now, no matter what price point you sell that product at, and it's actually effective, you're now able to create real wealth.
Yeah.
Digital assets have changed the way that I look at business, life, everything. I create something one time, like, and that one product can be like a platinum album almost, right? Rona proved to me it was a platinum record.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it
People
became
gonna find value in that until, you know, Jesus come back. It's theirs.
so think about
Yeah.
from your aspect
Yeah.
what you've been able
yeah.
to,
Yeah. You literally, I'm just telling you as you're talking, you got the wheel spinning and just, you know, and that's why I appreciate, you know, these, you know, conversations, right?
yeah.
Exposure is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And these type of conversation that just exposed my mind to a whole nother area. And that it's such a need because I got people hitting me up, you know, hey, how do I do this?
Come on,
show
man.
me how to do this.
Come on,
Teach
man.
me this. All these things. And so like you literally just unlock my mind to a whole nother avenue.
So one of the things I take a lot of pride in is I'm a digital coach, and like whether it's me or my girl or whatever, I don't care what industry you're in. I want you to create a digital product. Like my girl's in fashion. I just had her launch a digital course week before last. So I can show you the numbers. It'll blow your mind. I have figured out, no matter the industry, how you can, because you got to understand there are people that want to learn the things that you do. They want to be able to pick your brain. You ever had anybody say, "Hey, I want to, you know,
sit down and
let's
pick
sit
your
down
brain."
and let's sit down and have a cup of coffee or whatever, and let me pick your brain." Well, now you get to pick my brain, but it's going to be in an organized manner in a course which you can actually pay from, you know, buy from me. And now I don't feel used, and you know, like, because a lot of people, it makes you feel used.
Yeah.
And you put in the years, you put in the work, you put in the energy, you went through the bumps, the bruises, everything else. And like, hey, put some skin in the game. Here's the skin in the game. And then now I don't have to do any additional work to be able to educate you. But if you want me to help you, it's an additional cost. So I will go and do hands-on, one-on-one type training, but it's going to be more money. I did in 10 days with Nicole, my girlfriend. We launched our digital course. She did $70,000 in 10 days. No pre-built launch, anything. I just wanted to prove to her I don't
Value.
care. I'm like, I don't care the industry. If you package together the correct offer for the audience of people that are out there that are actively searching for that information, you got to understand we are in times now where people want information and they want it from the people that are doing it. They want it from the people that are successful at it. They want it from the people that's not full of crap and that, you know, are lying and taking advantage of people, but they really want to be like, hey, you're successful, bro. I want to learn from you. I want to know how you did what you did because that's impressive. And if you can show people how they can get into these franchises, hey, from step 1, step 2, step 3, here's the things that you avoid, and I can put this in the order that's like, you know, right on point. I can put my resources, who you contact, everything. See, that's all I did is I put a bow around
the whole. Here's a package for you of what I've done to be successful. Here you go. That's excellent. I mean, that's life changing right there.
So think about, hey, if you're doing 6-7 figures a year in revenue with the business, and then you can bring in an additional 6-7 figures in revenue with also educating people how to do the business. I mean, just think about your network and your contacts. I was talking to Antonio Cromartie, and I said, bro, all you guys don't understand the opportunities that you leave on the table with digital products. Every NFL defensive player, offensive player, I don't care what you are, you have a fan base. You have people that have looked up to you. They mirror what you do, everything. I remember because I was that kid. I remember looking up at, you know, Jeremiah Trotter and all the guys, London Fletchers, and, you know, I watched and studied, and I'm like, I got to do exactly what these guys do because those are the greats. Now imagine if Jeremiah Trotter had a linebacker tape. Imagine if Ray had that linebacker tape. Man, Ray, you need a linebacker tape, bro. You don't have to go back and look. You don't even have to go back and run through the bags and nothing else. Use your old footage, put some voiceovers on it, and explain how you great. Bro, listen. It's something that so many families like would appreciate, even from the younger kids that look up to these guys that's in the league, and you want to play that position, but you don't know how to prepare. I remember Michael Jordan had the book. I know you remember that book Michael Jordan had out when we was kids, man. We was all trying to shoot like
Mike.
Yes,
Everybody
bro.
was. Everybody
think
was. That's
about it.
yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
so it came from me when I created my first ebook. That was the first. It was kind of the first light bulb. I put out my first ebook. I made like 12 grand on a book that I spent like $1,500 on. I was like, oh shit, like digital products kind of dope. Like I just sold this to a couple hundred people. I made a quick 12 grand. I'm like, damn, this is powerful. And then that was kind of what really started spiraling me into this whole world of the digital side. And I'm watching now, no matter the industry, bro. Like I'm telling you, I've watched millions be made with online marketing, no matter the industry. And I'm telling you right now, you got something. If you need the help,
Yeah,
I got you.
I'm gonna hit you up
but
because that you got me. You got my mind open on that because it's such, it's such the space that we're in is such a strategic space because, you're dealing with people's children. So there's so many licensing things. There's so many statewide things that you have to pay attention to, and so being able to provide for somebody, that educational, that pitfall, like these are the things that avoid to do, and these are the top 5 questions, and in this area of billing, this is how you bill, this is how you handle employees, all those, so forth. You really got my mind.
This was January 2019. I never bullshit. I always show receipts because I like people to be able to understand that, documentation over everything else. This is my schedule. Most of these people that are on this list right now, this guy's a multimillionaire. She's done over 6 figures. These are guys that all came to my program at the beginning. This is the very early, like this dude right here, Ramon, probably over $15, $20 million. He paid $30 to be on this phone call. Wow. $30. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because look at my schedule. Look at the blocks.
Yeah, you booked out
all day long.
Yeah,
that was $30. I took all of these $30 calls and just took all their information of what they were asking me. Hey, I'm building my program. They don't even know what I'm doing. Hey, everybody that was trying to pick my brain, hey, it was $30. And this, I'm not saying that you charge that now, but like you find out how you get what people are.
How you get that information of what people need.
What they need.
Yeah.
And then I took that and I said, okay, now that we have all that information, we create the product. And when we create the product, we answer every single question, concern, everything in the product now because we know exactly what they're thinking off all these calls. So I had proof of concept. I was booked every day for like 3 weeks, bro. Shit was like, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like for real, crazy. Like I literally was like, I hated one-on-one calls after that because it was so like, bro, I'm talking about from 9 a.m. to 6 for 3 weeks straight. I was booked. And it happened by accident because I didn't realize how fast the shit would spread. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, look, you can come sign up for $30 and you can come learn. And then it was like everybody must have saw it
and was like, hey, we in.
Yeah, and it's hundreds of people that came in pretty quickly. And then I was like, okay, fuck. Like now we got an idea that's like kind of got people's attention. Let's kind of use this smartly because I don't want to have to overwork it. So I was like, all right, now everybody that comes in, I'm gonna record every call. I'm gonna get the most frequently asked questions, and then I'm gonna start building out the course content based off that. And the cool part is, I'm looking for this. I took a free training where you can see in the free training, 8,900 people registered for the free training. 4,300 people showed up. I want to show you.
Yo.
So it was a $90,000 launch. After the launch, like damn near every single day, you're getting $2,000 purchases. Like
it just started to hit, yeah.
And then I hit my first million. Like you're talking about 100 plus people making purchases. Like it became so insane. But what I realized is that this is real estate I'm talking about. And now I have made real estate become attractive to people because of the way I marketed it. I got on $1 million worth of game. I was thinking outside of the box. I'm like, hey, we're sitting in the pandemic. People were sitting at home, just consuming a bunch of content, but not really, knowing what to do. Let me jump in front of everybody. I want to, while everybody's sitting neutral, let me show you how to be proactive.
Yeah.
And,
it's like the same approach that you took trying to get into the league. You deconstructed the game and said, okay, let me work from the top backwards how to get there. And then you took that same approach, like I said, that's amazing. You took that same approach and applied it to real estate and said, okay, this is where you're trying to get. Mm-hmm. Now let me help you and give you the blueprint to get there. And now let me just share this information for free for everybody. And then, that's...
So imagine me setting up your free training to show people how they can actually get into franchising their own daycare facility, and then you actually now have the ability to teach people what to...
But you speak in my language because I've said it. I've said it for a couple of years now because that's something that guys, coming out of the NFL, we struggle with that. What's next, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, man, how can we bridge this gap and help guys make that transition out of the league, whether it's to business ownership, whether it's to real estate, whatever it may be. But utilizing, that digital marketing piece, mm-hmm. that's huge.
So think about what I showed you. I showed you in January, I was charging $30. By May, I had already made over $1 million. And when you think about what that creates for not only me, I mean, obviously I created a shit ton of revenue, but think about what it does for the people that now have access.
Yep.
And so now they know how to do it the right way. They know how to, step by step.
That empowers them. Yeah.
You change lives. I mean, I have people where we go, everywhere I go now, I get chills sometimes to think about the impact I made on people that sometimes I've never saw a day in my life. I don't even know this person existed. They were just a customer purchase on my screen. And somebody will walk up to me, looks like, even like hood dudes, they'll walk up to me
like, yo,
you changed my life, bro. And I'm like, shit, bro. It is really one of the most amazing and most gratifying things. And I go, guys, man, if you have something that you can prove that you've done successfully that other people look up to, you should create digital products around it. It's absolutely a must. It shouldn't be in the era that we're in right now where people are trying to learn how to get over the hump and people are looking for ways to do it from the right way. You create digital assets. I'm talking about, once again, I say this, whether you're in any type of business, there's somebody that's like, hey, you now have something that they want. And if you can exchange that without actually having to put more time, energy into what you don't take away from your daily schedule and everything else, bro, it's a gold mine. You think Terrell Suggs with a defensive back course wouldn't sell out?
Absolutely, of course.
He don't have to go make a new, go back and backpedal now. He can use all his practice film, all his, game film.
Of course.
Go have some DBs walk through drills, and now he has a digital product that he can walk people through how to be a defensive back on a Hall of Fame level. Ray, same thing.
Yeah. All that eye placement, hand placement, footwork.
How do you place your hands on all of that, man? Yeah. Most of these guys, I tell you right now, have coaching ability, but they're not coaching. Ray should be coaching in some capacity.
Absolutely.
How many linebackers would benefit from having, Ray maybe don't want to take the time or whatever, but if he just had the one product, if Revis had the one product, that's, and I say
you would have coaches buying that.
Absolutely,
saying, man. Let me make sure I'm teaching my guys the right way.
Absolutely.
Wow,
man.
Nah, you onto something.
Everybody should have digital products, bro. I believe that everybody. Listen to me, man. If you got experience, and somebody wants that experience, there's no better way. Takes no time out of your life. You create it one time, and that shit is set.
I think that's genius, man. The way you mapped it out, the way you went about it, gathering the data and the information, and then making it palatable, giving it to people exactly how they need it, so they could take it and run with it. I mean, bro, I'm straight up, like, I'm not even, no bull, like you unlock some things for me. So we'll chop it up, we'll chop
I'm
it
telling
up
you that
offline and make some things happen.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta ask you. This is one of the things I ask every one of my guests. I be forgetting sometimes, but tell me one regret, something that happened in life. It could be sports related, business related. One thing that you look back and say, I wish I would have did it differently. In life, it could be anything. Something that sits on you. Something that sits on you at night.
Oh, one regret. Man, spending all that money in the club. Nah, I'm joking.
No, shit. That might be it.
I'm joking, but even still, like that, I look back on some of that stuff. I'm like, man, we blowing, 40, 50,000, a night in the club for no reason. That was foolish. But in terms of regret, I was thinking about this. It's funny that you asked me this question. I was thinking about like the power of regret and like what regrets do I actually have in my life? And I can honestly sit here and say, have I not liked the outcome of certain things? Have I made bad decisions? Yeah, I think we all have. I think we've all, been in, certain relationships that we wouldn't, we shouldn't have been in, or put ourselves in that situation, or made bad, financial decisions here or there. But principally in terms of like me going through life, like I don't really see like a regret that I have that I'm like, man, like I hate the fact that I did that because it changed an opportunity for me. I think everything that I've gone through has kind of placed me in the position that I am now. And so I don't look at something as something that I didn't change, or even better yet, I don't see an opportunity that I had that I didn't maximize and go after. Every opportunity that was placed in front of me, I went after it with the mindset of, I want to be the best at it. I don't want to just do it to do it. I want to be the best at it. And that's how I just have attacked life. And so like, I don't ever want to look back and say, man, I regret having that opportunity, not doing what I was supposed to do. Man, I was given, the opportunity to have digital products. I didn't capitalize on that. Like everything, I'm a sponge for, maximizing, and so, I proudly can say that, and that's not the same for everybody.
Right.
There's, people have shortcomings, but, I think, overall, I think it comes from a place and I'll just say this story. When it was during the lockout in 2010, I believe, the NFL lockout, and I didn't get signed. And I remember sitting in my room.
Is that the uncapped year?
That was the uncapped year. And I remember sitting in my apartment complex. It was completely dark, and I was just laying in bed. And I thought for a moment, I was like, it's over. I said, I'm not going to get signed. No teams want me. My career in the NFL is over. And I sat there and said, man, I misused the opportunity. I was supposed to do so much more with it. And all I did was party. All I did was, be all about me. I wasn't making an impact in anybody's life. It was just all about me. And I remember sitting there and say, wow, and now you got nothing to show for it. I didn't have any real estate. I had an apartment in New York City, expensive as all get out. And I remember sitting in there and saying, dang, that was the one moment where I looked and said, okay, man, I messed up. I didn't do it the right way. And I thought it was over. Of course, fast forward, 2-3 months later, I get a call from the Patriots, and then they signed me. And it was like, from that moment, it was like a reset button. And I was like, I'm never not going to maximize the position, that I put myself in. And so, I think, to answer your question, I think that would probably be that one moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Give me your top 10 defensive players that you've ever played against or played with.
Ooh, top 10. Jeez. Man, I play with some dogs, man.
You don't have to put them in any order.
Okay, so I'll go Adonica Sue. I'll go Haloti Nada. I will go. Antonio Cromartie. I'll put him up there because he was amazing. He might get taken off the list, but he's there. He's there for now. Darrelle Revis, of course. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs. Man, and then man, it's a tough question. I'm going through rosters right now in my head, so I'll put Jason Taylor on that list because he's a Hall of Famer, and so I don't want to leave him off. 2 more spots.
You ain't say nobody from Pittsburgh.
Hold on. That I played with.
Or against.
Or against.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
man.
yes,
so
yes.
then, man, okay, then Troy Polamalu has to be on that list.
I was saying, I'm like, come
Troy
on, dog. I'm
Polamalu
like,
has to be
come
on that
on,
list.
dog.
So Cromartie gets taken off because Troy Polamalu got to be on that list. And then, that Vince Wilfork, one of the most athletic, dominant interior defensive linemen ever to play the game, Vince Wilfork. Highly underrated, but he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
That's 10.
That's 10?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was like, man, if you don't put Troy up there,
Troy got to be on that list,
I was like,
man.
you doing the Baltimore-Pittsburgh shit up here, man? I was like, come on, bro.
Man, Troy Polamalu did some of the craziest stuff you ever seen in a game, man. Yeah, one of a kind.
All right. Now we got to flip it to the offense real quick. 10 players that you went against that you just like said, damn.
Randy Moss, he can account for all 10.
Have you? Do you have a Randy Moss moment where he got you or anything?
No. But no. I was on the field when he got Revis. It was a close game too. Just literally was running Revis step for step. Randy just put his hand up. Tom threw that thing out there, and it was just like one hand catch in the back of the end zone. Beat him by like 6 yards.
What is it when you see like that happen against a Revis, somebody that never gets beat?
It never gets beat, bro. That's when you just like, you got to get take your hat off to him. Just say, okay, all right, you get paid too. You a Hall of Famer too. Yeah. They call it you got mossed for a reason. So but yeah, so I would say absolutely Randy Moss playing against him was crazy. You can go through the top 3 quarterbacks: Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees in his prime, unreal. LaDainian Tomlinson. Whew. You talk about,
I say all the time, nobody gives LT his respect.
He don't get no respect, and that man was. Like, everybody talks about like receiving, running backs. He was like one of the first back then. When cats didn't even know about receiving running backs to be able to do what he did. LT. I'll say, Antonio Bryant.
Yeah,
I put him on that list nonstop. That man, playing against him, you had to be, a 25-yard cushion. Like, I'm playing safety, I'm playing off by 25 yards. And he still covers ground so quick.
Antonio Bryant?
Antonio Brown.
Brown.
Antonio Brown. My bad. Yeah. Antonio Brown. Yeah, he still covers ground so quick. And he right up on you. So
he was fast as shit.
Oh, fast as shit. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. One of the fastest players, like speed in front of you, watching
football
speed. Football speed.
Game speed, yeah.
One of the fastest guys I've ever played against.
Yeah.
Like, you better get out your pedal and run, or he will pass you, hands down, no matter what the cushion.
So I remember it was a time where AB was probably, it was a couple of years where he was just going nuts against everybody. Going into games when you play against a guy where he's getting 15, 20 targets and going crazy, I know that had to be, yeah.
We played in Pittsburgh, and we were playing cover 5. So cover 5 is 2 high safeties, and everybody's man to man, but they're playing from like inside trail technique. So like they're inside and they're a yard away from the receiver, just close enough so they could touch him. And Antonio Bryant runs a 10-yard out on third down, catches the ball, tiptoes the sideline like he was about to go out of bounds, plants, cuts across the field, and takes it for 60 yards for a touchdown. Nobody caught him. Not a single person. And I'm like, and I was on the field, and it was just like there was no way, as quick as I could have covered 10, 15 yards, he was covering, 25, 30, gone out the chute, gone. To get back to the list, offensive players, I got to put Rob Gronkowski on that list. Gronk is definitely on that list. And sticking with tight ends, I got to put, Travis Kelce on that list. Yeah. He's definitely on that list. There's so many guys, man. It's like, it's so hard to put 10 guys. How many is that? That's like seven. I'll put Ben Roethlisberger on. He has to be on that list in terms of, the quarterback that he was, another Hall of Fame player. And I'm thinking of another receiver. Man, we played against Ocho Cinco when he was in his prime. When he used to talk cash, money, and people don't understand. Ocho, he's one of the best route runners in the game. Like at his time, he's one of the best route runners in the game in terms of routes. And then, last one, I'm trying to see, Marshawn Lynch, running back.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Beast mode. Yeah, he's got to be on that. Look. Oh yeah. Yeah. Chico, what up, baby? What's up, man? Can't call it. How you, bro?
We sitting here doing the episode, and I asked him his top 10 players that he went against for his career, and he said Ocho. I said, I got to call my guy.
That's my guy.
Routes for days, baby.
Hey, look, we sitting here having a good talk. I said he said, man, top 10. He said, yeah, I can't leave my guy Ocho. I said, I got. We out here in Houston. Hey, oh, was you nervous when you got in front of him now, or what?
I don't get nervous at child support. Come on.
Not until the child support coming.
Yeah, I don't get nervous till when I got that child support served. When I got served, that make you nervous right there, bro.
Hey man,
it's good seeing you, bro.
You too, baby. Good to see you, boss.
All right, dog. I just had to hit you real quick.
All right.
Peace. Had the phone a friend right there.
Yeah, that's my guy, man.
Yeah, so I that's dope though, man. Like you come from a like the great days, the glory days of my football era. Like for me, man, watching you guys, some of the best players that I can remember over the years. The game is changing so much now, where it's not it's not gonna be the same after a while. You can't tackle, you can't, like they're making it more and more challenging.
It's designed for the offense. They want high scoring, which leads ticket sales and so forth. And so you can't knock from that. But the game has changed completely. Like it's a completely different league.
Yeah. So now we got your top 10 offense and defensive players. What didn't I ask? Let me see what didn't I ask you? We got a good interview here, man. Since I know it's a good interview, when we go to the hour 40 plus, like normally, like if it's an hour, it's like right to the joint. We in here, we vibing.
Yeah.
I think we really knocked it out.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming.
Hey, it's James Ihedigbo, and I'm on the Get Your Ass Up podcast.